the House of Windsor. Keepers of a throne, guardians of tradition, symbols of a nation's continuity.
That I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility.
And heirs to a legacy as fragile as the crown itself.
3 cheers for His Majesty the King! Hip hip!
Their story is one of duty, love and heartache.
I, William Arthur Philip Louis.
Take thee, Catherine Elizabeth.
Take thee, Catherine Elizabeth.
To my wedded wife.
To my wedded wife.
On the long walk in Windsor, 2 brothers who have barely spoken a word in the last couple of years.
Meet the key figures of the most famous family in the world and understand what makes them royal, but human all the same.
Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace throughout the evening. Then at 10:25, their patience was rewarded with the formal notice of the birth. It was signed by Mr. George Pinker, the Queen's gynaecologist, and other doctors who attended the princess. The crowd cheered to the echo.
We want the Queen!
Prince William, born on the 21st of June 1982 to Prince Charles and Princess Diana, entered the world with the weight of a future crown already on his shoulders. Raised in a mix of royal tradition and his mother's desire for a more grounded upbringing, William experienced life both behind palace walls and among ordinary people.
William had a fairly traditional aristocratic childhood. His parents were, you know, Diana particularly was a modern parent, but she was a modern aristocratic parent, and she did use nannies, and the nannies really were the people that William spent most of his time with. He had been a very outgoing little boy.
From an early age, he displayed a sense of responsibility, duty, and calm maturity, qualities that set him apart.
For their eldest son's big day, the Princess of Wales was in the driving seat. With the Prince of Wales at her side, Eton's most famous new boy was with his younger brother Harry in the back.
His time at Eton College further shaped his character, blending discipline with compassion, and he developed a deep sense of loyalty to both family and country.
William enjoyed Eton enormously. He went into a house that was sort of carefully chosen, with a housemaster was called Dr. Andrew Gailey, and it was a perfect match for William, and he was a very sympathetic, kind man and ran a very happy house.
Unfortunately, although William enjoyed his time at Eton, it was, of course, blighted by the tragic death of his mother.
Within the last few moments, the Press Association in Britain, citing unnamed British sources, has reported that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. This is not yet confirmed by any official source. So an unconfirmed source from the Press Association is that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died.
I have a terrible feeling that this is true.
How does any 15-year-old and 12-year-old cope with that? It was devastating for them, obviously. It wasn't, you know, like the death of any normal parent, because with the death of a normal parent, you don't have the world grieving. It was almost as though their grief was being devalued by the grief of strangers.
So much.
On the day of the funeral, William and Harry walked behind the cortege. It was a long walk, and there were crowds sobbing and wailing, and thousands and thousands of people lining the route. And they walked with their father, their grandfather, and Charles Spencer.
She would want us today to pledge ourselves to protecting her beloved boys, William and Harry, from a similar fate. And I do this here, Diana, on your behalf. We will not allow them to suffer the anguish that used regularly to drive you to tearful despair. And beyond that, on behalf of your mother and sisters, I pledge that we, your blood family, will do all we can to continue the imaginative and loving way in which you are steering these two exceptional young men, so that their souls are not simply immersed by duty and tradition, but can sing openly as you planned. We fully respect the heritage into which they have both been born, and will always respect and encourage them in their royal role. But we, like you, recognize the need for them to experience as many different aspects of life as possible, to arm them spiritually and emotionally for the years ahead. I know you would have expected nothing less from us. William and Harry, we all care desperately for you today. We're all chewed up with sadness at the loss of a woman who wasn't even our mother. How great your suffering is, we cannot even imagine.
The death of his mother at a young age has always stayed with William. However, this horrific event has never thwarted his drive to fulfill his duty and serve the British people. Even as a young man, William's empathetic nature and his mother's influence could be seen in his public and private life, showing a quiet strength and genuine concern for the people around him. In 2000, he ventured on a gap year to Chile to complete some charity work before heading off to St Andrews for university.
I wanted to do something constructive in my gap year, rather than, I could do quite a lot of work, but I thought this was a bit more of a way of trying to help people out and meet a whole range of other different people from different countries, and at the same time helping people in remote areas of Chile.
There was no question in any of the gap year, actually, that he was a prince and treated differently. He mucked in, he slept in sleeping bags, he cooked food around a campfire. He did everything that everyone else did.
On his return, Prince William spent 4 years studying for a degree in Scotland, where he learnt to live independently and also found his future wife, Kate Middleton.
The people of St Andrews are a very close-knit sort of society, and they welcomed William with open arms, and they were very protective of him. And as a result, he spent 4 years there as a pretty normal student.
I think the wonderful thing about St Andrews was it was a bubble away from reality. It was a life that Prince William had never been able to enjoy, whether it was going to the local shops, going to a local bar, going for his morning swim. He could get on with his life and his relationship in private.
In his own words, it is time now for the big wide world. But today, William's family, like any other, well, almost, came to say a proud farewell to a place that has allowed him a more normal life than any royal in history. That he is deeply grateful is not in doubt. And partly, of course, it's been about this woman. They've been allowed to develop a relationship without front-page scrutiny, and it's helped.
Kate Middleton.
William's determination to serve and make a positive impact persisted even after he graduated. In 2006, Prince William joined the armed forces and began his military career at Sandhurst, where he undertook rigorous training to prepare for his role as an officer in the British Army. Unlike his brother Prince Harry, he never saw active service, but instead, William used his military training to later hold a position in the Royal Air Force as an helicopter pilot in the Search and Rescue Service. A clear sign of the Prince's desire to help people in vulnerable or dangerous circumstances.
Harry had been to Sandhurst ahead of William because he didn't go to university, and he had joined the Blues and Royals regiment. William, when he graduated from Sandhurst, when he passed out, he also joined the Blues and Royals. But because of the way that the regiments rotated in their deployments, it was quite clear that William was not actually going to make it to Afghanistan. He was not going into a battlefield. Nobody knew who he was up in a helicopter, and yet it was very real and meaningful work.
To me, I didn't join the forces to be, like I said a lot of times before, mollycoddled or treated any different. And as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, if Harry can do it, then I can do it. I don't really separate us in that much difference. And I think as future head of the armed forces, it's really important that I at least get the opportunity to be credible and to do the job that I signed up for and to do the best I can. And that's all I ever wanted to do. And the search and rescue role is now, slightly different, so obviously being able to go to Afghanistan, but it's still doing an important job, and I hope it's a step in the right direction exactly for the future. Well, before I started Search and Rescue, I had a little brief introduction to it, and it was immediate to me. I spent 3 hours flying with the guys, and it was totally apparent to me straight away how important the job is, and the skills the guys employ, the flying aspects, the general airmanship you need to have around you, and all the wits you need to survive the weather and whatever sort of situation you're thrown into. It definitely is advanced flying, and it's rewarding, so it put the two together, and it's a fantastic job.
In 2010, Prince William chose to take the next step in his relationship with Kate Middleton, proposing with his late mother's engagement ring. The couple married less than a year later.
Flying himself into the land his family have worked for generations. Ian Craig's plane touches down in Lewa, the romantic hideaway Prince William chose to make his proposal.
Produced the ring?
Yeah.
There and then?
I did, yeah. I'd been carrying it around with me in my rucksack for about 3 weeks before that, and I literally would not let it go. Everywhere I went, I was keeping hold of it because I knew this thing, if it disappeared, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
I think it was very telling that he chose to give Kate Middleton his mother's engagement ring, and he said, I want my mother to be part of this, to be present. Not in a sinister way, of course not the ghost at the feast, but there to enjoy the celebrations and the fun of it all, of a great occasion.
This was very much a wedding, their personal wedding. Okay, it was very, very public. Obviously, it was televised and the world was watching, but it was essentially their private wedding, and that's how they kind of treated it. And it was very touching, and Kate looked absolutely stunning.
Balancing home and family life with a career can be difficult. However, in July 2013, Kate gave birth to their first child, Prince George. The media camped out in excitement to catch a glimpse of the future king. Kate and William greeted the press and introduced Prince George to the world. In quick succession, Kate gave birth to 2 more children, Princess Charlotte, who is 4th in line to the British throne, and Prince Louis, who is 5th. Prince William's family was complete. Being a devoted father, however, has not hindered his commitment to charitable causes and royal duties.
How he's going to balance that with his numerous charitable commitments, all of his patronages, and of course his official duties. He's taken on investitures now, for example. When I spoke to the palace about exactly how he'd manage everything, they seemed incredibly confident in William's ability as a multitasker and someone who will manage to allocate enough time for everything.
Prince William has drawn significant influence from both his parents in his approach to charity work. From his mother, Princess Diana, he inherited a deep compassion for vulnerable groups, focusing on causes like mental health, homelessness, and children's welfare. From his father, King Charles III, William adopted a strong sense of environmental responsibility and sustainability. Charles's long-standing dedication to conservation and climate action has clearly inspired William's leadership in efforts like the Earthshot Prize, aiming to tackle global environmental challenges.
I can't be hugely optimistic and pleased that my children are getting so into nature, because you kind of worry and dread that they're soon going to realise that we're in a very, very dangerous and difficult time in the environment. And that, as a parent, you feel like you're letting them down immediately.
I think everything that William has done in his life has coloured what the charities that he's chosen to support. You know, the conservation comes from his time in Africa. His interest in the welfare of ex-military personnel comes from his time in the military. His experience as an air ambulance pilot, the people he saw there, the injuries. I think his interest in mental welfare is also tied up in all of that.
Some of my earliest memories relate to times that my parents spoke to me, or even better, showed me what it meant to have both privilege and responsibilities. I remember being taken by my mother to a homelessness shelter at a young age, her explaining to me why the people I met there matter, and why no society can be healthy unless we take other people seriously.
I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, was an inspiration, an example to me and to all my family. And we owe her the most heartfelt debt any family could owe to their mother, for her love, affection, guidance, understanding, and example. As my heir, William now assumes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades.
I think he's done so much in such a short time, and he has such respect from people that I don't think people will compare him to his father. I think his father's position of Prince of Wales was unique, and William's position of Prince of Wales is very much William and Catherine together. They are very much a unit, so it's a different a different sort of force, if you like.
William and Kate, I think, have their own idea of what they want to do, and I think, you know, you see these two people moving forward and taking the monarchy forward. I say in my book that modernisation is a very hard word to use in the context of the royal family, because the royal family is built on history and tradition and protocol, but actually in William and Kate, you see a future king and queen who are driving it forward and taking it on to the next step.
At King Charles III's coronation in 2023, Prince William pledged his allegiance to his father with a moving vow of loyalty. Kneeling before the newly crowned king, William declared his faith and commitment, affirming his role in continuing the monarchy's legacy. The following day, at the coronation concert, Prince William made a heartfelt speech, emphasising his devotion to service, not just to the crown, but to the people. He spoke of honouring his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, and highlighted the values of duty, unity, and care for others as the core of his mission.
Pa, we are all so proud of you. And I also want to express my pride and gratitude for the millions of people who serve in the forces, in classrooms, hospital wards, and local communities. I wish I could mention you all. Your service inspires us, and tonight we celebrate you too. I commit myself to serve you all, King, country, and Commonwealth. God save the King.
As king, Prince William will likely uphold the monarchy with a strong sense of duty, compassion, and modern sensibility, balancing tradition with contemporary challenges.
I think he's mindful of history and won't do anything extraordinary, but I think he's also very much more a man of the modern age and of the people than any previous monarchs.
His leadership is expected to focus on uniting the nation, emphasising mental health, environmental causes, and community service.
I think when William becomes king, you know, God willing that he does become king, he will be very much more modern, and I think he'll be much more the people's king.
The recent challenges, such as Kate's battle with cancer, will test his resilience and family strength, while Prince Harry's departure from royal duties continues to reshape the dynamic within the royal family. Yet William's dedication to both his role and his family is likely to guide him through these trials with grace and resolve.
Nothing means more to William than his family. And as long as that unit is tight and that nobody gets inside his precious area, I think things will be fine.